Ola founder and CEO Bhavish Aggarwal is finding favors in controversy. Bhavish Aggarwal on Saturday said his company has decided to move its entire workload out of Microsoft Azure to its own cloud platform Krutrim within the next week. The move, as per him, is a reaction to Microsoft's own LinkedIn removing post of Aggarwal where he had written about pronoun illness last week. For uninitiated, the Ola CEO a few days ago shared a post slamming gender pronouns. This after the entrepreneur asked LinkedIn's AI bot about himself and the chatbot addressed him as they instead of he. The pronoun they, remember, is used by trans people or those who do not either identify exclusively as a male or a female. It is also used by those who are unwilling to disclose their gender identity. Bhavish Aggarwal had a problem with it. He called out the platform for imposing a forced ideology on Indians over gender pronouns and he called it an illness. LinkedIn later removed the post. Now, Ola founder says his company will move away from Microsoft, which owns LinkedIn, and the move will lead to a loss of over 100 crore rupees for Microsoft business in India. What exactly is the controversy? Let's break it down. With me is my colleague Karthik Malhotra. Karthik, hi. It all seemed to have started innocuously with a post where it seemed like Bhavish Aggarwal had a problem with LinkedIn's AI chatbot. He said it's an illness, post which LinkedIn did not take it very well. It says that the post is a violation of community guidelines of LinkedIn. It removed it and it's becoming more ugly by the day.
So what's really happening is I think AI bots across the world are now getting trained to be a little more sensitive. We've seen the controversy that broke out in India over Gemini's expression on Prime Minister Narendra Modi. We've seen many such instances across the world where a prompt given by somebody of an Indian origin or otherwise generating results which may or may not be accurate, and because of this inaccuracy, the whole world going hammer and tongs on AI bots. What happened in this time, I think the rewrite with AI feature on LinkedIn posts is a new addition. It's not something which has been around for very long, and anytime you write a post and then you say rewrite with AI, it often changes words and terms which may not be as accurate as they are intended to be by the original writer of the post. I think a similar thing went down with Bhavish Aggarwal. I think for the LinkedIn bot, it was difficult to ascertain whether Bhavish Aggarwal is a male or a female, he or she. In fact, the trend on LinkedIn over the last many years now has been that along with your name, you write him, himself, her, herself in brackets. So primarily, it's a global platform. So when you want to be identified, if you want to be identified with a particular gender, many influencers and regular people out there on LinkedIn start using brackets which denote their gender. Maybe absent in the case of Bhavish Aggarwal, and perhaps the AI bot wanting to play it safe, instead of addressing Bhavish Aggarwal as he, address Bhavish Aggarwal as they. So number one, it's a plural. And number two, it is also what Bhavish Aggarwal is now referring to is a pronoun illness. And that pronoun illness term used by Bhavish Aggarwal inadvertently perhaps led to the post being taken down. Was it inadvertently or not? We don't know really. There isn't really a statement from LinkedIn on why that post was taken down, except for the fact that it flouted community guidelines. So any flouting or violation of community guidelines, the automated process is to take down the post. So, that taking down of the post led to Bhavish Aggarwal writing a second post. And pretty sure that even that second post would eventually be taken down. Now, all of this has led to two aspects. Number one, there's a very nationalistic card that Bhavish Aggarwal has begun to play over the weekend.
Knowingly, deliberately using pronoun as perhaps one of the talking points for him to push his own platform, Krutrim.
Yeah, so so that is the second, that is the assumption really, right? So the fact is that over the weekend, Bhavish Aggarwal has taken a very nationalistic stand, not unlike we've seen many other startup founders in recent history take, right? And there are examples galore, but started all the way back with Bajaj Auto saying Hamara Bajaj and the national pride that came with it. Cut to many decades later, demonetization and Paytm's front page ad associating with an India cause. Cut to late last year, the Maldives controversy, and you had Ease My Trip, Nishant Pitti coming out with banning flights to Maldives. So, I think anytime there's a nationalistic card to be played, Indian startups are catching up and Indian entrepreneurs are catching up to it fairly fast. So, in this case, I think the nationalistic card really that Bhavish Aggarwal took out of his hat was that, hey, we've got an Indian AI service provider. We don't need services of global bullies like Microsoft. So for all those who are out there on the Microsoft Azure platform, which is the cloud servicing platform, and using AI as a built-in feature with that cloud, there is an alternative available. And the statement that Bhavish Aggarwal makes is that within 5 days, within a week, this week starting Monday, all of Ola's business on Microsoft Azure is actually going to be moved to Krutrim's own cloud-based platform. Who owns Krutrim? No surprises there. It is owned by Bhavish Aggarwal. So at one level, saying that almost 100 crore rupees worth of business that Microsoft does in India is now going to move away from Microsoft to Krutrim, which is Bhavish Aggarwal's own AI platform. In a way, also sending out another message that there is an alternative available in Krutrim for all other businesses out there using Microsoft Azure. Explore Krutrim as an alternative. So how much of that is actually, a made-up controversy because of the pronoun illness that Bhavish Aggarwal said, and how much of it is actually using that opportunity to move business to Krutrim is yet to be seen.
Calling it an illness in itself is associating it with some sort of stereotype. For people out there, a minority section of people who've been marginalized for far too long because they identify either as non-binary or as trans, they are not ill. I mean, essentially, this very argument to try and get more people to download Krutrim, to go to Krutrim, using a pronoun-based argument seems to be a little out of place, at least to me, to begin with. I mean, just one example to give you here, Karthik, which is what I was thinking of when I was reading all those posts out there on LinkedIn, and the comments that followed was that there could be a female Bhavish as well, just like there could be a male Shweta as well. So in India as well as abroad, gender cannot be associated with a name. Therefore, it's very difficult to ascertain whether a Bhavish is a male or a female. So they them seem safer.
Absolutely. But that is where I think the chatbots and that is where the AI engines need to read enough. I'm sure any article written on Bhavish Aggarwal after the first paragraph would refer to him as he, right? So which Bhavish Aggarwal wanting to write or rewrite using AI what should lead to the correct result? So that is point number one. Point number two, I think the pronoun illness and illness here that Bhavish Aggarwal was talking about is not an illness of the pronoun, but an illness of the bots themselves to play safe when in doubt by using a pronoun rather than attributing a he or a she. So I think the illness that he was referring to was not they being an illness, but this pronoun being used in place of a he or a she, a very clear-cut gender denomination being an illness associated with the bots.
Right.
So I think that is how Bhavish Aggarwal perhaps intended to use pronoun illness rather than it being an illness for those who refer to themselves as an illness to the bots, which, comments can go haywire.
We don't know what he intended.
My assumption is that because of the inaccuracy in the message that prompts after you give a certain direction to the bot, it's the illness of the bot and not illness of the community that he's referring to. However, I think, there are many aspects here which get one to believe on how efficient AI bots are right now. And the fact that should you actually get AI to write or rewrite stuff for you, and it gives you the option to actually correct it before you eventually post it. So the point is, why did Bhavish Aggarwal not really correct the prompt, the response to the prompt that came before posting it, rather than trying to make a point that there is an illness out there?
All right, lots of talking points from that story, which continues to build up as Bhavish Aggarwal now says he's going to move away from Microsoft. For LinkedIn has removed his post not once, but twice now, and all of Microsoft's business coming from Ola will go to Krutrim, and guess who owns Krutrim? Well, Bhavish Aggarwal himself.